it for the property, and we can use it for method also. Okay, when the property and method both are declared using overridable keyword, then the derived class can override that overridable methods. Okay, overridable keyword where you have to use this keyword inside the base class. Okay, for the property and methods. Okay, and in derived class, the methods which are declared using the overridable keyword, you can overridden it into the derived class. Okay, so whenever you want the method overriding concept, the which methods, which property you want to override, that property or method should be declared using the overridable keyword. Clear? Overridable.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, and second keyword is overrides. The second keyword is overrides. Overrides means if you are using the overridable keyword into the base class, and then to override that method into the derived class, then that overridden method should be declared using the keyword overrides. Okay, overrides and override keyword is used to over for the overridable property or method defined in the base class. Clear? The property or method which is declared using overridable keyword in the base class, that property and method you can override into the derived class using the overrides keyword. Clear? Clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Clear or getting confusion? Now see again, overridable. When you have to use overridable keyword, the method or the property from the base class, the method and property from the base class which we want to override into the derived class. Okay, that property and method should be declared using the overridable keyword. Okay, and the property or method which you declared using overridable keyword in base class, that property or method in derived class you have to declare using the overrides keyword. Okay, okay, we'll see with the help of example, then you will confusion will there is no confusion. Okay, so next keyword is not overridable. Okay, so not overridable, you can declare you can use this keyword inside the base class. Okay, when the method or property is declared using this keyword not overridable, then derived class cannot override that method. Okay, no, any class derived from that base class never override that method which is declared using not overridable. Okay, and last is must override, and we already discussed the use of must override keyword. Must override keyword is, that means the method or the property which is declared using the must override keyword, that derived class must override that property or must override that method. Okay, and the class which contain one method which is declared using must override keyword also should declared using the must override keyword. Okay, now see what I am saying. The class, okay, which having a method must override method, okay, also declared using the must override keyword, because then then it becomes sorry, must override keyword, sorry, must inherit keyword. Okay, so it becomes the abstract class, or it becomes the must inherit class. Okay, means if any class having the method you declared using must override, then that class is always a must inherit class. Normal class does not contain the must override method, it will generate the error message. Clear? Clear? Yes or no? Am I audible?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So let's see. We'll see with the help of example. Actual. What is the actual use of these four keywords? Okay. So I'm opening the .NET window. Is the window is visible?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So here I'm here I'm declaring the class students. Okay. Now in student class I am declaring one okay, and I'm declaring one procedure. Okay. Now here this procedure is I'm using to display the value of n. Okay. So here I'm initializing n to 10. Okay. Now this is the display method. Okay. I'm declaring it using the keyword overridable. Okay. So here display is the method which I have declared using the overridable keyword. Okay. Now I am declaring one more class. Okay. Now this class, now look at the screen. Look at the screen. This class is the derived class. It is derived from the student. Okay. Derived from the student. Now look at the window. Okay. Now see when I'm pressing enter key. Okay. When I'm pressing enter key, should add okay. The student inherit. Okay, it is not. So here I'm going to add the display method. Okay, now this display is overridable method. Okay, so if you want to override it into the derived class, okay, so it should declare using the override keyword. Okay. Now see, display is the method that I have declared using the keyword overridable. Okay. That means this method we can override into the derived class. Okay. So when you want to override that inside the derived class, that method should be declared using the overrides keyword. Okay. So the method which are overridable in base class, that all methods should be overrides into the derived. Okay. So now what is the concept of overriding? We can override the method. Okay. So same method name. Okay. But here this method is here it is in base class it is overridable and here it is overridden method. So overridden method is always used to change the behavior, original behavior of the display method. Now here inside the base class, what is the behavior of this method? It is used to display the value of n. But inside the derived class, I am using to display the message, hello message. Okay, but this change in the behavior of this method never affects the definition of this method, which is defined into the base class. Okay, so this is overriding. Now, um, then m ads will create the object of marks. Okay, so m dot display. Okay, now look at the output. What it will show? It will show the only hello message. Okay. Here I have created the object of derived class, and using that object I am accessing the display method. Okay, so obviously which method it will call? This m it will call the display method which is defined inside the derived class. So that's why it is showing the message hello, right? Right? Screen is visible to all, no?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so now I also want to access this display method, this overridable method. Right now I also want to display the value of n. Okay, so for that what you have to do, use the my base keyword. Okay, use my base keyword. Okay, when we want to access the overridable method inside the derived class, okay, then that methods we can access using the my base keyword. Okay, now let's see how to access here my base dot display. Okay, what I have done, inside this overridden method I have used a keyword my base. Using this keyword I am accessing the display method. Now which display? Using this keyword we are accessing the display method, which is overridable inside the base class. Okay, now look at the output. Look at the output. Okay, now it is showing the value of n, okay, which is initialized in base class, and also showing the message. Okay, so here we are accessing the overridable method and overridden method. Okay, clear? Clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so we can override the method, okay, in db.net. Okay, how to override? There are three different steps. First, the method which you want to override, always declare that method using the overridable keyword. Okay, and the method or the property which is declared using overridable keyword, that should be redefined inside the derived class using overrides keyword. Okay, and to access, now to access this method, which method? Overridable method which is declared inside the base class. Okay, if you want to access it into the derived class, how you can access? You can access it using the my base keyword. Okay, so my base dot the name of overridable method defined into the base class. Okay, clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, now one more keyword is there, my class keyword is there. Okay, now if overridable method, if you want to access overridable method in the same class, what if you want to access the overridable method in the same class, then use my class keyword. Okay, for example, here I am using another procedure, find. Okay, so inside this procedure, I am I want to access. Okay, inside this class, sorry, inside this procedure. Okay, which procedure? Find procedure. And where I have defined this procedure inside the student class. Okay, so within the same class I want to access this display method. So within the same class you can access the overridable method using a keyword, no, my class keyword. Okay, now see, sorry, okay, and we have to m dot find. Okay, see, this is the first two lines generated from due to the when we access the find method. Okay, second and sorry, third and fourth line because of the display method we are accessing from display method which is defined in the derived class. Okay, here the use of my base and my class. When we have to use my class keyword if we want to access the display method which is overridable inside the same class. Inside the same class, if you want to access the overridable method, then use my class keyword. But if you want to access this overridable method inside the derived class, okay, that means outside the student class, then use my base keyword. Okay, clear? Clear how to override the methods, how to access that overridable methods? Yes or no?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so take a snapshot of this.
Done, ma'am.
Okay, this is the second.
Done, ma'am.
फोनवर बोला कशाला जाताय? ओके, डन.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
So, okay, now we'll see we'll discuss on use of not overridable keyword. Okay, so here, now see, when I'm uh, using not overridable keyword, okay, now it is showing the error message. Okay, what it is not overridable cannot be specified for methods that do not override another methods. Okay, so here, okay, now look at in derived class. Public override sub display cannot override because it is declared as a not overridable, means we cannot override the display method. It is not allowed to override. Okay, here use of not overridable. Okay, the method which is declared using not overridable keyword, we cannot override. It will generate the error message when we are trying to override that not overridable method. Okay. तिथे कशाला जाताय? Okay. Must override. Now, must override. We'll see the use of. We already discussed, but still we will see an example on that. Okay. Suppose here I'm declaring display method using must override keyword. Okay. Now see, it is showing the error message. What is must when the method is declared using a keyword must override, it only declaration should be there. Okay, no definition for that method. Okay, so okay, now see, when I'm declaring the method using must override. Now look at it is again showing the error message for the class, student class. Why? Because in student class I have declared the one method which is must override method. If any class contains one must override method, okay, then that class must be declared using a must inherit keyword. Okay, so that's why it is showing the error message. Okay, so now see, now no error message for the student class because it is declared using the must inherit. Clear? And we already discussed how to use that must override methods. Okay, in must inherit keyword, right? Clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, good. So then next we'll see the use of the access modifiers. Okay, we'll discuss on public, protected, and private access modifiers. Okay, so here, mm, okay, these access specifiers for variables, we can variables are also declared using the access specifier public, protected, and private. Okay, and methods we can also declare using the access specifier public, protected, and private. Okay, so we'll see first we'll discuss on the public access specifier. Okay, so for example, here I am declaring n which is of integer type variable, and I have declared it using a public access specifier. Okay, and one method which is again a uh, declared using the public keyword. Okay. Okay. Now I am declaring one more class. Okay. Okay. Now see, in student class, which is a base class, I have declared one variable n using a public access specifier. I have declared one method, display method, which is a I have declared using the public access specifier. Okay. Now inside the main, inside the marks is one of the derived class. It is derived from the student. Okay, and I have declared one method, find method. Okay, and inside this method I am accessing the variable n. Now n is the variable which is declared inside the student class, and I am accessing it into the derived class. Okay, so inside submain, what I'm accessing display method and find method. Now for currently for this line, it is not generating the error message. Let's see whether it is displaying the output or not. Yes. Now see, it is showing. Okay, it is showing the value base is equal to 10. Okay, because of this statement. Okay, where we have written display. Now display is one of the method defined inside the student class. So obviously this display method can access the n variable, right? Okay, now this find is defined inside the derived class. Okay, and it is accessing the variable of the base class. Okay, and it is successfully accessing, so it is printing the message derived is equal to 10. So what is mean that the variable which is declared using a public access specifier, okay, the methods of the base class can access it, okay, and the methods of the derived class can access it. Okay, plus this display is also declared using the public access specifier. Okay, so we can also access that method using the object of derived class outside the using the object of the derived class. Okay, because this displays one of the method which is declared using the public. Okay, so when methods, properties, or variables are declared using the public access specifier, okay, that a methods, variables, property can be accessible inside the derived class also and outside the derived class also. Okay, clear? Clear use of the public access specifier?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, take a snapshot of this. Okay, now we'll discuss on the use of the private. Okay, so now see here, I'm declaring n as the private. Okay, and display method using the private access specifier. Okay, now see, n is private member. Okay, so we know that the private variables and methods and properties and events are accessible within the same class. Outside class cannot access that private methods, private variables, any private members of the class. Okay, with private members are accessible within the class only. Okay, so here n is private, so it is accessible within the display function. But look at here, it is giving the error message inside the find, because find is one of the method defined inside the derived class, right? So what it is showing the error message. It is not accessible in this context because it is private. Okay, so under n it is showing the zigzag line. Okay, now look at inside the main under m dot display, under this text it is again showing the zigzag line. Okay, and when I'm moving mouse it is showing the error message. Private sub display is not accessible in this context because it is private. Okay, now see under m dot display again it is showing the error message because what is display? We have defined it using a private access modifier. So outside the class, this display method is also not accessible. Okay. Clear? The use of the private access specifier. Yes or no? Hello? All are there? Hello?
Yes, ma'am.
एवढे वेळ का लावतात रे रिस्पॉन्स द्यायला? ठीक आहे. Clear this use of private access specifier.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, take a snapshot of this. Okay, here error. It will generate error. Here it will generate error. Okay, now we'll discuss about the protected access specifier. Okay, so here I'm declaring N using a protected access specifier. Okay. Now the members of the class, if we declare using the protected access specifier, okay, then that protected members can be accessible inside the derived class. Okay, so derived class of this student class can access these protected members. Okay, so now see here I have declared and using a protected access specifier. I have declared using the display method using protected access specifier. Now look at this statement. Okay, for n it is now not showing any error message because this derived class can access this n variable because it is protected. So its derived class can protected members can be accessible by the derived class. Okay, but look at outside the class. I am accessing the display method, but display is protected method. So outside the class we cannot access. So it is showing the error message. Okay, but inside this, okay, inside the derived class, okay, we can access the display method. Okay, so inside derived class I am accessing the display method. Display is the method of the base class which is declared using the protected access specifier. Now let's see whether it is generating the output. Yes. Okay, so protected public means what? Any class can access the members of the class, right? Okay, private means it is accessible within the class only. Okay, outside the class private members are not accessible. And protected means that protected members are accessible inside the class also and accessible by the derived class also. Okay, immediate derived class can access the protected members of the class. Clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so take a snapshot of this. Sorry. Okay, now next we'll discuss on multiple inheritance, how to implement the multiple inheritance in VBDOT. Okay, so I am declaring the class student.
شماره 11 یه دوچرخه سوار تو پس زمینه این گزارش بعد جوری زمین خورد و همه رو خند.
الأسواق الصاعدة هل هي بالتالي ما زالت صاعدة فهي بالبديهة
شماره 10 یه برنامه زنده اجرا می‌کردن که این اتفاق براشون افتاد و همش
Okay, now here I have defined three classes: student class, course class, and mass class. Okay, now I want to uh, uh, access this method, display method, inside the mass class. I want to access display class method inside the mass class. Okay, here what I'm saying, the display method which is defined inside the student class, I want to access inside the mass class. Okay, and display class method which is declared inside the course, I want to access inside the mass class. Okay, so how I can access it means this marks class should inherit this display method and display class method. Then how it is possible? How it is possible?
Inheritance.
In using inheritance. But which type of inheritance for that we need to implement? Because one class is there, and in one class I want to access the methods which are from two different classes. Okay, so which type of inheritance we need to implement in this case? Marks should be inherited from student, and it should be inherited from course. That means multiple inheritance. Okay, so this marks should inherit student class, it should inherit course class. Okay, now let's try. Is it possible? We can create the inheritance using inherits keyword. Okay, Okay. Now see, it is showing the error message. Is it? Is this visible? Is this statement is visible to all? It is showing the zigzag line, right? Is it?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Why? Because yesterday I told you in VB.NET we cannot implement the multiple, means we cannot declare a one class um, um, uh, we cannot declare a derived class which is inheriting the properties and methods from the more than one class. Okay, so inherit keyword, more than one time we cannot use the inherit keyword inside the derived class. Okay, only one time it is allowed. Okay, so that's why. So how we can implement this multiple inheritance? Okay, so there is a one concept, interface concept is there. Okay, using interface we can implement the multiple inheritance, but again there are some restrictions under the interface. Okay, so if you want to implement the multiple inheritance concept, okay, that means if you want to derive a class which should inherit from more than one class. Okay, if you want to define a derived class which should inherit from more than one class, okay, then that class should declared using the interface keyword. Okay, that class should be declared using the interface keyword. Okay, so here, okay, what I want to declare this marks as the derived class. It should inherit student class, it should inherit course class. Okay, so I am declaring the student and course class using the interface keyword. Okay, instead of class keyword, use the interface keyword. Okay, okay, interface student. Okay, then where is second class our? Here. Okay, that interface should end with the interface. Okay, okay, yeah. So declare the class using the interface keyword, and it should end with the end interface. Now there are some rules for when you are using the interface keyword. In interface keyword, all the members should be declared using the public access specifier, using public access specifiers. Okay, so private members are not allowed inside the interface class. Okay, inside the interface. So here it is giving the error message. So here I am removing the public access specifier. Okay, okay, and um and one more rule is that we cannot declare the variables inside the interface. Only methods, properties, events are allowed. Okay, variables are not allowed. Okay, and the type of these methods must be a public. Private protected access specifiers are not allowed. And one more, another rule is only declaration is there, no definition for the methods. Okay, only definitions inside the methods. So same here. Okay. Now see, when you declare a class using an interface keyword, okay, that means now student is an interface, course is an interface. Okay, inside the interface, only method declaration is there, only property declaration is there, only event declaration is there. No definition of property, method, events are there inside the interface, and all interface should be declared using the public access specifier. Private protected access specifier are not allowed. Plus variables are also not allowed inside the interface. Okay, clear? Clear these rules? Clear or not? Yes or no?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
And now we can create this class marks as a derived class, which is inherit the methods from the interface students and methods from the course. Okay, now while you are inheriting from student and course, always remember, when you are inheriting it, okay, use the implement keyword instead of inherit keyword. Which keyword we have to use? Implements keyword. Okay, so here implements from student, implement from course, course. Yes, it is the course. Why it is? Class marks must implement. Okay. Okay. So that is the first thing. Now, second thing, whatever the methods declared inside this interface, that method should be defined or must be defined inside the derived class. Inside the derived class, you have to define display method. You have to define the display class method. Okay. So here, it is display. Okay. It should be declared using the public. Ah. प्रॅक्टिकल पण आहे ना. हा तेव्हाही आपल्याला हा लेक्चर. हा 2 मिनिटं राहिले. लेक्चर नाही संपलं नाही अजून. Okay, and the definition of display class. Why it is showing the display error message? Okay, now these methods should be implements student dot display. Okay. Implements course dot display class. Okay. Here, so like this you can use the interface. Okay, so here marks is one of the derived class which is implemented using the two different interface, from student and from course. Okay, so the condition is what? That interface only contains the declaration of the methods. Okay, And the class which is implemented using the interface, it should contain the definition of that method. So display, the definition of display should be inside this, definition of display class should be inside the mask class. Okay, and how to write? It should be declared using public access specifier. Okay, and after that use implements keyword, and it is implemented. This is the implementation of the display method, which is declared inside the student class, and the method name is display. So implement keyword space class name dot method name. Same for the display class. It is implementation for the method which is declared inside the course class. So implements keyword space course dot display class. Okay, so like this you can use interface. Tomorrow we'll see some more example, and we'll again discuss on this.